Hey guys, it's Choco the Chocobo here, and in this episode I have for you a video about rune control and rune guarding and stuff like that. So it's going to be a very short video probably compared to other videos, but the idea here is I want to talk to you about it so you have a better start, as well as you have a better way to control like the runes and get yourself vision and give yourself like the highest battle assets possible, and that'll be great. So let's get right into it. What am I talking about? What is rune guarding and rune controlling? What is all this stuff? Rune guarding is in reference to what you can do, especially towards the beginning, where you guard a rune for a teammate and kind of just keep it safe from the enemy team. You're denying it to the enemies, you're giving it to yourselves. Very handy. Um, Rune guarding is very important at level 1 because, as I say in my ganking video, this gives you the opportunity for first blood very easily, relatively speaking. Very handy. Very easy to do as well. It's not terribly risky. Now, that said, your two other options at the beginning of the game, realistically, are you can go for like doing absolutely nothing. You run to your tier 1 tower, you gotta derp around you for a while, which a lot of players do. I hate that. If I ever run to you in a lobby, please don't do that. It drives me absolutely crazy because you're doing nothing for your team. You're passively playing. It makes no sense. The second thing you can really do is you can kind of like run up your lane and kind of creep block as you go and drive your engagement point maybe from like over here all the way down to maybe even there or so. So it can be handy. It sets up your lane. You can do it for bottom lane as well. Can be great to boost your defensive position, but again, if you screw up, it becomes nothing and you get a 0-sum game. You can't gank. There's no aggressive presence. You don't increase your battle assets at all. It just, I don't know. It's helpful in some cases, but more often than not, it's not as helpful as it can be. Of course, I do have to admit there's like ganking opportunities, but chances are you won't have a well-oiled machine running for you where you can take advantage of an early gank. That's not part of like the basic ganking suite or set, I guess. So, anyways, let's get right into rune guarding. Rune guarding is gonna be for the Radiant side and the Dire side. This is the kind of favored hill, as I'm gonna put it. And the reason why this is a favored hill is that you have, number one, you have 2 tiers of elevation separating you, so they can't actually spot you here in daylight, which is really, really handy because you can just kind of guard here very safely if you're on the Radiant side. And if you're on the Dire side, it gives you a very nice defensible point if you can get there early enough from any travel between here and here. You position yourself right behind this tree, they will only see you once they pass that point and they're right next to you. If you have a really strong early game fight, might be something you're interested in. There's a couple of manipulations you can do, like you can kind of duck in here and like try to hide behind those trees, but whether or not it's worth it, that's gonna be up to you. But for the most part, this is the favorite hill. Note that this is a very defensive hill for the Radiant, but still a great hill to position yourself on. Because if you can't really set up here and still see the rune, it's just not feasible. At the same time, if you're kind of down here, it's risky if you're on Radiant, but yeah, so this is a defensible and still recommended hill. You can see the rune perfectly from here if it's daylight. Obviously not if it's night, but you start in day, so who cares? If you're Dire, I still like it. You'll see me play this position a lot if you see me stream or you watch one of my gameplays, because I love this hill. It's really great. It's got me a lot of great setups with people wandering up. And if your top lane assists you, it is a huge benefit. That said, you probably heard me just now say like, oh, this is a favorite hill. This is a middle position, right? Your top guys can be positioned like over here or so, right? And they can kind of scamper back to their lane. But I love this as everyone's position, but this is particularly strong for the middle position. That said, it is slightly favored towards the Dire side. The reason for that is because if you manage to take this hill, or even any position for the top rune, you have a quicker engagement to top, which can lead to a very nice first blood gank. Very handy, very helpful. For the Radiant side, you may wonder, well, why don't you set up here for middle? Why don't you recommend that over it? And that's because, like, you can set up here, but it's not as defensive of a position for the Radiant side, and it's kind of a neutral rune, so to speak. I don't like it as much. I have had less success with this. It's just not my favorite thing to do. That said, it is definitely something to keep in mind if you are going for first blood. If you have a strong bottom lane, most definitely look into this. If you're going for first blood on Radiant side, this is probably your best shot if you're the middle player. If you're bottom, absolutely no question, set up here and wander yourself down back into lane. For Dire side, you cannot set up here. It does not make any sense. Do not ever set up here. It is you contribute nothing. If anything, you're going to get killed. Because you can see right here, I have no ability to look. I can't see. There's no defending going on, so you kind of have to set up here. Setting up here is a no-no. Never set up here from the dire side. You will probably get killed if they have any form of rune guarding going on, because they have this elevation here that protects them. But this is an alright position. It's not really a bad or unfavorable position, and the nice thing is that they can't really do a really good running start from that position. You actually have a shorter distance to run if they do try to set up back, so that is very handy. So that's rune guarding in a nutshell. I generally recommend that every lane do it. You know, your middle lane decide which lane they want to go towards, whether it's for helping purposes or whether or not they just want a strong start in middle. And beyond that, you know, just kind of practice it, get the feel for it. It's something that you definitely will get to understand as you do it more often. So let's talk about rune control, right? Rune control is a very, very handy bit to do. Now, it has some stuff to do with warding, so I'm going to like kind of do like a mini version of warding, but it's it definitely is its own thing. Every 2 minutes, the rune respawns. That being the case, every 2 minutes, you have a very nice potential to gank from the middle position or from the side lanes towards middle, or even back to their own lane, although you only have the same battle strength, which is kind of unrecommended, but I mean, it's up to you. If you have a position where you can do that, great. If not, I told you so. So right here, for rune control, you know, if I set up my wards, whether they be here, whether they be up here, I'm going to do this one just because I like it a little bit more. You're going to have that rune guarding, not rune guarding, that rune vision. And having that vision and control means that if you are middle, you can zip up. If this is a haste, you have a great opportunity to kind of swing around like that, or even run straight up like this. If you have a double damage, again, it opens up a large asset pool for ganking and stuff like that. Everything there. And the nice thing about rune control, and the reason why all mid players really, really like having some form of rune vision and having control that area, is because this is a major gank path, right? This is the way that most people have to travel, unless they go a longer route around. And that being said, it also has the possibility of getting you that regen rune, which is a free fountain heal very rapidly that's a lot closer to a lane than it is to go all the way back. Very, very handy. Can be incredibly deadly if your some of your players have bottles in them, because that rune control means that you're suddenly running around with a ton of battle assets waiting to go. Very, very, very powerful. Similarly speaking, if you have this kind of set up here, and you kind of put down a ward or something over here, this opens up a lot of different things. One thing to note in particular is that if you are looking for this rune control here, you have the opportunity to kind of do something a little bit different than the top side, which is you can break almost immediately from this rune control point, right? Because if you're dire side, and this is, I'm talking for only dire, it's kind of hard to do with radiant. If you break this way, it's really difficult to counter that, and it's really hard to have any form of idea of what's going on in that bit of jungle there, versus here where you can kind of see them coming. Here you have no idea, so this can be on a route for a secret chop if you time it right, and that can be deadly in itself. It can also be used for a quick grab, or even to set up a Roshan attempt, which is really, really handy, right? So something to definitely keep in mind, something that definitely can help out your team for a very low cost in terms of your warding positions and stuff like that. It's a common ward position anyways, so pretty strong. But anyways, that's all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you feel about it in the comments below, and I will see you in other videos.